Okay, so we are back. We're just trying to set up something so that we can also stream live on Facebook as we go along. We are running on Facebook now, and we are also on Twitter, and the YouTube is ongoing, and the Zoom. So gradually we are going in all the platforms, and actually you have no excuse now if you have not been joining the class or you've not been trying to practice. If your own is that you don't know what to do or where to get materials and all that, now you have material at your doorstep. Just get your data, make sure you have a working mobile device, and that's it. So the class is ongoing and we're doing an assignment. Thank you for staying put.
Hmm? Wọ́n ṣe class work lọ́wọ́ ni. Mi ò mọ̀ nǹkan ṣe map náà ṣe mi lè join mo join late. Kí ni? Ah,
Okay, welcome back. Let's have the work. You are sending it to me directly. You are supposed to type to everyone on your typing. After typing and you want to send, please send to everyone, okay? When you click, you see everyone in meeting. Then you see people one after the other. Please select the option of everyone, okay? Amuche, you sent it to me. Sweetie, you cannot be typing now. You are supposed to, thank you, Amuche, I've seen it. You are supposed to send, do this, type this work all within the time frame. Lovely, what's your question? Lovely, your hand is up. What is your question? Can you hear me? Okay, so I took some time when I was trying to explain what we were doing. That's why I decided to just let you people type and do your work. All right. If I'm asking you to start your video, then I'm asking you to type to start your video, please. All right. So the two map shows a representation of an island. About 100 meters prior and after construction of some centers for tourism. Firstly, and now I'm looking for secondly and I can't find. Remember that when you use firstly, secondly, thirdly, it means you're counting. And when I see firstly, I'll be looking for secondly. Now you have a firstly, you don't have a secondly. It's a wrong way to start. It's better to begin with, okay? It's better to just attack the question, just start answering. Don't say any of this thing. You can just say the map, or you can just start construction in site A. You can label it, all right? The first site you can say is your A or is your B, or however you want to do it. You can label. There are things, there are no known rules, okay, for some of these things. No specific rules for some of them. So you need to know what works for you. Open it up, use it. As you practice, you get used to it. And that way you can write. And write well. And you pass. Firstly, the island was initially covered with mostly seas. That grammar, with mostly seas. I don't know where that word is from. Nectar. What is that word for? Where did you get it from? Accommodation? No, I think you want to write neither. No any other building. The whole of this grammar is questionable. All right? The whole of this grammar. That's why I said you should be specific. If you are using the adjectives and you are using the specific vocabularies to this particular question, you won't be saying what you're saying and you won't make too many mistakes. Now, your grammar will cut your marks low. After the construction of a tourist center, there are many accommodations. You are discussing one map and discussing the other map. So why not just go ahead with what you see in the other map? Instead of telling us after you are just beating around the bush, go straight to the point like I said. Many accommodations, though in clusters, and they are connected. So why not just go straight and tell us that there are clustered accommodations in this map that you are describing now, the second one. But are these accommodations really clustered? I think that they are a bit spaced out. But if you want to use clustered, that's fine. It's just that there are many, there are more, or they were not even there at all. And then I told us that from our description, let's start from one side, didn't I? So you pick a particular side. If you want to talk about the north and the east, discuss everything on that northeast side. Then go to the southwest and discuss all that you have on that side, if that's the way you want to do it. If you want to write in sentences where you can join them using your linking words, then, and you want to describe north, south, east, west, one after the other, you can pick two or one of them, discuss, make sure you have enough words to give you your paragraph. If you watch, this accommodation are on both sides. The way you are grouping them now, you are grouping accommodation, that there's now accommodation. There is now restaurant, there's a reception. It's an entirely beautiful setting where everything is now available. All right. There's a plier. This plier is what runs between the reception and they didn't label this side, but I think it's more like a recreational area, like umbrellas where people go out to. So there are certain things that you can label. All right. And now there are two big buildings. One is bigger than the other. The restaurant, I think, is larger, while the reception is a bit smaller. This whole thing is something that you can describe without having to talk too much. Now, there are footpaths that link the accommodation together, and they are arranged more like in a circle. I think that's where you got your cluster from. There's also a vehicle track. A vehicle track from, if you watch, the vehicle track goes around the reception, around the plier area. I mean, it links the reception to the plier area, and then from the reception to the restaurant as well. Now, this whole situation, the whole of this site is about 100 meters in each, so there's no change. The size of it did not change, but the content, the variables in it is what changed. What they said was that there were constructions of some tourist centers within the same location, so there was no change of location. I want to see in your write-up, constructed, erected, okay, put in place, built. Apparently, what you have written, I can't see any of this. So you're just telling me there is now accommodation. What happened to them? Were they built? Were they constructed? Were they erected or something? If they were not there before, it means they were added. And I told you specifically that there are specific words, vocabularies that you use when things are added in a map. Okay, when new things are constructed and erected and new things are built, you know, new constructions come up and all of that. Those are the words that you should use. And I did explain to us before we started writing. Let me see. You will write it again, no, Amuche. You will write it again and send it to the Telegram group. Let's see if you have been able to get any correction at all from what we have discussed. In your overall, okay, before the overall though, the two maps shows the presentation. Now, how can the two maps show the representation? It's either it shows or it is a representation of something. Okay, that's like you are using two words that mean the same thing together to describe one thing. It's more like tautology to me. Repetition of information. Okay, so make a choice from one of them. The two map is a representation, or it represents, or it shows, or it illustrates. Do you get my point? So that you will not speak plenty grammar and at the end of the day you have made no point at all, or you have made no sense rather. And this writing in bracket, like some of us do it a lot. You're saying something and you're putting another one in bracket. Please don't do it. If you want to tell me the total meters that is square, I mean the total meters that the site, okay, is seated on. You want to tell me the width of that site, length, if it's long and it's measured in meters or in centimeters or whatever. If you want to say it, go straight and say it. Don't put anything in bracket. Because are you telling your examiner to either choose this or that? I remember when we put things in bracket, maybe you have said something, say, okay, it's the same thing as this. So also in bracket. Please, please. Let's do. So don't put anything in bracket, or you say, maybe you say in year between 2009 to 2019, and then in bracket you put 10 years. Make a choice, choose one of them and make use of it, please. It will help you more. It will be more accurate, to be more accurate, to be precise in your explanation. All right. The picture given shows an island before and after a tourist facility is being modernized. Tourist facilities were not modernized, they were constructed. They were not there at all before, were they? So if they were not there at all, you need that. I said you should use certain words or vocabularies to describe whatever you're doing does not mean that you should say things that are not true. Because you and I can see that it's not like it was modernized. It was not changed from one thing to the other. Okay? A different thing was constructed entirely. All right? A different thing was constructed. And if you watch, it's like they still have the palm trees that were there, or the trees that were there. They look like palm trees or coconut trees, whatever kind of tree they are. They are still there. So they were built. New things were brought in, built, constructed, all right, erected. They were not, it was not modernized or renovated. It was not a tourist center before. The map is not about a tourist center, it is about the island. The way the island was before and after. This island was null and void, just containing trees. But after the construction of the tourist center, where accommodations were built, a reception, restaurant, and all that, the recreational place and all that were erected, you now have two different maps. So it was not modernized. It was built. Overall, there are some new buildings and pathways showing the changes. They were not old buildings before. I don't know, is it making sense to anybody? If there were old buildings there, you say, okay, new buildings were added. But in this case, you need to understand the question. In this case, it is a new construction. The site remained the same. The site is an island. Buildings were erected for tourism, to make it a tourist center. Okay, so that people can come and do sightseeing and probably have fun and, for recreation and all of that. It's more like a recreational park that has been created from an island that had nothing before time. So the map is about the island and not the recreational park, and not the tourist center, and not the sightseeing place. It's about the island and the changes that has occurred in the island to make it a tourist center. So that's what you are writing about. I'm surprised that you did not write completely about the way the island was before time. So if you are choosing to, if you choose to write one map per paragraph, you should describe fully how the first map looks, which means you need to talk about the trees that are on, maybe this is the east for me now, and then you need to talk about the ones that are on the west. And being on the west, some of them they are not even completely on the west, they are like on the northwest, yes, because it's up and towards the side. So please, if you are describing by that, ensure that you use the right words. If you are describing by the items, one after the other, ensure that you say the location of where that item can be seen, the location of the item, you must say it. Okay? It's a cluster of building in two different areas. One side has more than the other. So if you choose to say one side is on the north and the other side is on the south, for example, then you must mention that the one on this side is more. Remember when I was saying you're describing by size and by difference. What's the difference between them? And you're saying more than this, bigger than, farther away from. Okay? So one of the sides Which one has more footpaths to link them? Which side does not? At the end of the day, this C, now there's a beach. No, did you mention the beach? No, you did not mention the beach. I've seen this map somewhere before. It's a Cambridge map. I just took a screen grab when I opened it and I'm sharing it. So there's and it's Cambridge 13, I think. If you have Cambridge 13, if you check the writing task 1 in Cambridge 13, you may find this. I'm just going through to see if actually we understand. Thereafter, is a plier not a pyre, please? That's for Belinda. I think that the double map below shows an island before and after the building of some sightseeing center. Of a site, it's not some, there are not many. It's a sightseeing center, okay? Overall, there are major changes on the island now than earlier. Overall, what and what has been built in this case is what you should be talking about, because you're not comparing the two maps. If you are comparing the two maps, then we will be talking about there are more changes on one than on the other. But your overall statement should be talking about one or two major things that were constructed. Okay. Overall, the map before has what and what, but this one now has what and what. You look for one thing, two things to say. It's not by what I said. That's the way you can use one example to relate with the other when you see your questions later on or when you are practicing. Not what I bring a question, I ask a question and I answer it. Meanwhile, that's not the question you're going to have in your exam. This is to trigger you to thinking, okay, so that you can answer whatever question that comes your way. Any kind of question that comes your way at all, you'll be able to answer it. Using this example. Good. For instance, initially is a way to start. It was almost empty with only palm trees within. You see, they didn't label the palm tree, but you have labeled it. You have said something about it. And that's exactly what it looks like. And at the northern end, not north end, okay, they see as well as, remember that an island is surrounded by what? So it's on every side though. The sea is on every side of the island. The sea is on every side of the island. Everywhere the island is surrounded by the sea. So it's not on one side more than it was on the other than it is on the other side. So on the first one, there was no construction of footpath or vehicle track or whatever. It was just the sea around the island and then a beach, okay, a small beach on the east, because if this is north, south, east and west, yeah, on the east, a small beach with the trees. Those are the major things there. And then an empty land where in this new one now, houses have been erected, a plier was constructed to link the island, that's the reception part, the island to maybe a recreational center where you are seeing things like umbrellas to link it. Now there were accommodations that were built on both sides, all right? None of the trees has been demolished, has been destroyed. None of it, there was no deforestation of any kind. There was no cutting down of any of these trees at all. So all of them are still there. Now the beach, we didn't know, they didn't tell us whatever happens with the beach before, but now you can see swimming. The beach is where people can now go and do what? And swim. And you can't drive there, but you can go on foot. I'm seeing the diagram. That's why I'm describing it. All right. So footpath linked all of the accommodations together, while the vehicle track is just between the plier the reception, and the restaurant. Okay? Same size, the size of the island did not increase. So, Belinda, you are confusing yourself by bringing in what you should be writing in second paragraph to your first paragraph, or the information in your second paragraph to your first paragraph. Because when you talk about the vehicle track and the footpath, it's not there, all right? It's not there in the first map. In the second map is where you have all of that, like I tried to explain now. To start with, it can be seen that the island. Where is your introduction? Chinwe, I didn't see your introduction, but you started with. To start with, it can be seen that the island initially
My,
comprised
my,
of a beach.
my introduction is I mistakenly sent it first before
And I
the two
can't find
paragraphs.
it.
You have not reviewed mine. Oh.
It's not all that I will review. All right. I may not be able to review all of them, but I'll review some very outstanding ones so that as I'm correcting one person, you can pick your own correction from there. And if you think that there are specific corrections that you want, then you can repost it. All right, you can copy what you have here now and repost it on the Telegram group. And if there's anything spectacular about the correction that you need, we can go ahead and do it. Other than that, we can't have all the time to correct everybody's work. And if I read it and I see that it's actually good, we just encourage you to go ahead and, keep practicing. Chinwe, I didn't see your introduction if you posted it first. But to start with, it can be seen that the island initially comprised of a beach on the left side with footpath. Then the sea is located both at this. The sea is all around, please, with the sea all around, okay? In contrast, some sightseeing facilities were erected. For instance, a restaurant was now at the top. To get to the restaurant, you have to follow. A restaurant is now at the top, which was linked with what? Car track, vehicle track. So to get to that story is not really necessary. Okay. Then the playa is what is between the restaurant and the recreation center. That's what I tagged it in this writing. You can give things name, like just like you gave the palm tree names. There were just trees on there. Reception accommodation facilities were also built, okay, with footpath that led to the beach. You are talking about accommodation facility and you have jumped to the beach. Why not finish one sentence then move to the next sentence? Is it not easier and better and more organized? Remember, you are looking for marks for your coherence and cohesion. You need to have a precision, all right? There should be a progression between your work. You move from one logical point to another logical point. Don't go up and down so that you don't scatter your points. And then repetition of words. I've seen beach here for like in one paragraph, beach is appearing like 4 times. And is it only constructed that you know? What about erected? What about built? Don't use one particular word. That's repetition of information and it's going to cost you marks at the end of the day. The given map depicts the structure of an island before and after tourist centers were built. Overall, the island remained its normal size in both periods and is still surrounded by the sea. I think I like this overall. I like this sentence more. Okay, that's lovely. Just before the renovation, the island, good. So you start by attacking the question. 100 meters long with a beach at the far right end. Is that your right? Although it depends on where you're facing. For me now, it is on my left. So, okay, apparently it's on your right. Right end of the island, palm trees both at the top right, at the right and the left side. Remember the palm trees, one is at the top and the other one is more like at the middle. So you will want to describe that and tell us specifically where I can find what you're talking about. There were enough space, and then a vast land. You can talk about the vast land. Vast unconstructed virgin land was available for constructions to take place. However, following restructuring or construction, a plaza was built at the top, at the front of the island, so as to gain access. Please full stop. Beside this, comma, are two yachts used for transportation. You see that you've given it a name. I was thinking it's somewhere where people can cross to and go and relax, but you have said they are yachts. So you see that you have a better understanding of what they are than I do. But mine is not going to be wrong because it depends on how I describe them or whatever meaning I attach to what I have found because it is unlabeled. Used for transportation, a reception, more so, why not more so, or furthermore, or in addition? Why not bring in your linking words to link your paragraphs to your sentences together so you can have more complex sentences than simple sentences? When your sentences are too simple, it makes the work too simple and too, like it's a child's essay. But with enough linking words, linking verbs in between them, those are the cohesive devices. It comes under your coherence and cohesion, where you use devices, those cohesive devices to link your sentences together to give you complex sentences, all right? And at the end of the day, one or two of these complex sentences with one or two simple ones in a paragraph will give you a solid paragraph. Restaurants were constructed with vehicle track leading to each. Restaurant, how many restaurants do we have that you are saying vehicle path leading to each of the restaurants? Are there two? It's just one restaurant, isn't it? To the right of the reception are 6 housing facilities. To the right, that's on the left of my own left now, with 2 palm trees. There are more than 2 palm trees there, so just say some trees. Do you understand? Because you apparently you didn't get the correct number. So with some trees, or the initial trees were still there, not demolished, at the middle of the building with a footpath connecting them. The footpath also leads to a beach, leads to the beach, which is now suitable for swimming. Okay, then at the center, you can like go finally. So bring in these words and use them. Who is this person? Write this essay again. Put the words, the cohesive devices we talked about, be more specific with your description, and then send it to the Telegram group. 2 maps depict the changes that occurred prior to the erection. There's no changes your beginning is not so good. Overall, it can be seen that there is no inhabitants on the island until the modification. The island was totally useless, if you ask me, but that there is no inhabitant. The grammar there is kind of not so appropriate for sight attraction. I don't think there's any word like that. It's either a side attraction or sightseeing or some sight attraction. Well, sight attraction. It attracts to sight. I don't think that's correct. Prior to the development, bare land was located. Prior to the development, why not say the island was bare? Just with some trees and a beach by the side that was not used for anything. And then you have clustered your whole work. Can you separate? Can there be a separation between your paragraph? Because now you have one very large paragraph, everything together, both your from beginning to the end is one paragraph. Can you separate them? Can you separate them? When you type, You know, on your phone, there's the icon that goes down. When you type, use that. I know that when you're writing, it's not going to be a problem. It's not going to be a problem. So, but you need to know it, okay? You need to know the right thing to do so that when you write, you will not make mistakes. I think that's all the writings that I've seen today. Did you send your work and I've not said anything about it? I don't have the icon on my phone, that's why. Okay, that's fine. You should have the icon somewhere on your phone that you don't know. Is it a new phone? With a new phone, you need to study it. I got a new phone some time back and I was not able to use some functions. I had to ask people, and up to today, I'm still learning new things about the phone. I know that somehow you will find out if you keep learning. So please write it and send it to the Telegram group with the corrections. Thank you very much. So did anybody in here tonight send in any work and they have not vetted or talked about it? I don't think so. Oyenike, I didn't see your work. Bookie Banks, you did not write. I'm taking notes. If in the next class you don't participate, well, it's entirely up to you, really. It's up to you. So do we have any questions about these corrections or about this work generally tonight? No questions. So overall, we've been talking about writing task 1, and tonight we have succeeded in discussing um, maps and floor charts and maps. That's what we have talked about. It's the same thing for a floor, whatever. So I'm going to give you this floor map as the work that we would do as an assignment. Let me find it. As an assignment, let's get the floor map and see if we can do it and submit it later. Okay, floor map, where is it? Wow, can I find it? Okay, 2 months ago, and I select and import the link pictures and compare it. Okay, I'll send it to the Telegram group. I found it, it's here. I'll send it to the Telegram group. It's a map, it's another map of a place, development that has taken place over a period of time. Here, you have, let me share this so that we can talk about it for a few seconds, then you can do it as a task. Okay, so you see this map, this floor map, this map is showing, is a map of a particular place from 1995, showing the development and changes that has occurred from 1995 to the present time. So take it, for the purpose of this 2020 will be our present time, because I want you to have an even number or something for your write-up. Now from 1995 to 2020, number of how many years is that? You need to take note of it. When I send in the picture, this screen grab, I'll write a short question on it so that you can understand what we're doing. This is where you will now tell me this one compared to that one, like the way some of you wrote your overall statement for this particular question that we just solved. The way you wrote it actually is for a question that is somehow like this. So you need to understand the kind of question you are. Oh, can you hear me? You can hear me, right? Can you hear me? Because I saw that I went off. I don't know what happened. Anyways, I was sharing my screen with you. Let's continue the sharing. This is the kind of map that you would read your overall statement. In this map, you are telling me the changes that has occurred. Some places were changed from one thing to the other, while some places a new set of um, thing entirely was constructed. For instance, the shops in this 1995 map was changed, modernized to restaurant. All right, the hotel is still there, all right, it increased. That land area was increased, but this time around, it was no longer serving as a farmland, which a larger pond and tennis at the end. See what I was telling you about to see it with my cursor. Look, there's north, south, west, and east, north, east. So when you describe, you know what is on what side. For instance, the farmland and the golf I just talked about, where do they belong? Okay, the hotel is where now? Find talk about. So for and you have to describe by location. By virtue of you seeing these compounds, it shows that you are to describe the location of things here. The cafe is still there. The marketplace, there was a fish market before that has now, the place has been demolished, okay, it has been removed, and apartments have been built in its place, all right? The sea is still there, and there was fish in this present day. The housing is still on the west, but number of houses has increased on that side, still on the northwest though, because all around the northwest, all of this side like this is where those houses are. But we have more houses in this present time than they were in 1995. So you are comparing, you are describing by location and you are comparing as you go along. Have you seen those kind of questions where they say you should talk about the relevant features and make comparisons where necessary? This is what is happening now in this. Now, around the southeast, where this tennis is, previously, that's where they cut the land off from that joined the Gulf area. But it was all forest before. Previously, it was forest. Now there's no forest. It has all been flattened out and it is plain ground now, with the hotel still where it was, and then a car park now constructed around the hotel. The cafe maintained its position. It was not changed either in size or in position. The fish market was demolished and apartments were now built in the present age. Fish was no longer dead, and the whole of that area is entirely the scene now. And what other thing? Okay, the shop area has been converted. You can see that just the name that changed, the position remained the same. The shop area has been converted to what? To a restaurant. I've finished answering this question so that by the time you are writing, you will understand what you are writing. Do we have any more questions? If there's no question, I'm going to end the class. Any more questions? Writing task 1 will come to an end by next week, by God's grace. If you think that you need more or you need clarification on anything, all the classes we've had on Writing Task 1, they are all on our YouTube channel. You can go there, just watch them, go through it, take corrections, and then jot down your questions. Probably when we're rounding up next week, we'll have time to take questions that you have so far in Writing Task 1. If there's no question, we're about to end the class. If you're watching us on YouTube, thank you very much for joining the class today. You can send in your work to the Telegram group. If you're watching on Facebook, you have no more excuse because we are streaming live on Facebook as well. So you can join us, you can share the link with your friends and then help them to get what they want. In the absence of any other question, I say good
Sorry,
night.
I have a question. I have a question, ma. Sorry, ma.
Go ahead.
Okay, ma. Like this last one you sent that we should do as an assignment. It seems we are comparing both maps. So does it mean that I should just have a dividing point between the two maps so that I'll be able that will make up my first and my second paragraph? Okay.
You can choose, now you have a map, you have these two maps, and you have a compass. You can choose to describe maybe the north and the west, what happened there in one paragraph, and then choose to talk about the south and the east, what happened there in the second paragraph. Just have a dividing line between them so that you can, group your data together. All right, group your data. You can decide to talk about one side first, then the other side. That's perfectly fine.
Excuse me, ma.
Yeah, go ahead.
Ma, sorry, you were calling my name that I didn't send any work.
Yes, I
I
didn't see your work.
did, ma. Though I didn't finish, you were sending me a signal that I should show my video. I think that was the second work that came in.
Did I correct it?
Yes, you did.
Then I didn't check your name. Sorry about that. That's fine. Any other question? No other question. Good night. Have a lovely night rest today and see you next week. Please send in your work. I'll send this picture now, edit and send it to the Telegram group. If you watched on YouTube or on Twitter or on Facebook, we hope it gets better with time. Remember that these lessons, they all stream live on YouTube and the videos are on there for you to go back to and watch. Have a lovely night rest from me. Bye-bye.